Hello there. Okay. My first guest I've known for a number of years. You all know her. I'm sure there's nobody in this country who does not know Barbara Walters. She's been called, and I'm going to ask her if she likes this appellation. Is that what they call it? WC feels just that appellation, called the High Priestess of the Celebrity Interview. And she's consistently listed as one of the most influential women in the country. Would you welcome, please, Miss Barbara Walters.
No, we kissed each other, so we're okay.
That's right. You won't die. Did you ever get a chain letter?
Yes.
Did you ever believe in them at all?
Yes.
Come, are you superstitious?
Yes. Do you find me a wonderful guest, sir?
See, I should learn. You never ask a question that could be answered yes or no. I should say, how do you feel about chain letters? Now you have to respond.
I have to tell everybody, though, for why I am here.
Okay.
Okay. I am here because I have been for, 8 years asking Johnny Carson if he would do an interview. And for 8 years, he very sweetly calls me up and says no.
That's true.
This year, he said yes. We did it 2 days ago.
That's true.
And this is my punishment. I have the feeling that every question,
Right.
every question
Coming
that
back
is
to
going
you.
to come back. And also, I have learned something that I don't know whether everybody knows, but I will tell you all. He has great legs. I don't think I will tell him how I know.
Yeah, it's nice. Didn't know you felt that way.
I do.
What was the question I asked you? I asked you about chain letters. And you know what the first question she asked me on this interview was? We're sitting there, and I says, you know, don't get into two things that are too personal. And you start off and saying, what was your first sexual experience?
I did.
Now, was that a joke, or
Yeah,
I started to answer
He
it?
did. I thought.
I wanted to be a good
He
interview.
really did. I wanted to loosen him up.
That'll loosen him up.
Yes.
So I said, what was your first sexual experience? And he started to tell me. He said, you want to hear her name? The day he was 17. And I kept saying, I was kidding. He said, well, and let me tell you. And then I kept, Johnny, I was kidding. I was kidding. He is such a blabbermouth. You know what we hear about cool, aloof? I tell you, the personal stuff. Well, we had to edit the whole thing. Nobody really wants to hear all those
You
things.
do a good interview. You put people at ease, and sometimes that's kind of an edge you have because you get comfortable with somebody, and all of a sudden you start to tell them things that you might not say.
It's a wonderful interview that we did with you. It really is.
I don't know because I'm serious.
I promise you.
I was. You don't remember what you said after it's over, and since it is filmed, I don't know how it's going to show.
And also because when you're funny, you're very comfortable. When you open up and you begin to talk about some things about yourself, then you begin to think, and we all do. Did I say that? What did I say? I shouldn't have said that. But it's a lovely interview.
Right.
And it will be on in December on another network.
Another network.
Yes.
Do you remember your first sexual experience?
I knew it.
You know that I wouldn't be that tacky to ask you to...
It is next Thursday.
Good, good. We're going to take a break. We're going to come back here, and we'll talk about a lot of things. We're back. We're talking with Barbara Walters. If something fell over on the bandstand. I mentioned the introduction. You've been called one of the most influential women of our times, and that's probably true because you can shape people's perceptions of things that are happening in the world by the way you interview people and also of other people. How do you feel about it?
I don't think you ever think, I mean, I read all the time that you are considered so powerful.
Now, you see how you're turning it around right away?
Oh,
Notice
but
the
I'm
sneaky
just-
way, the way she does
And
this.
I'm much more comfortable that way. I mean, it was funny. Didn't you feel funny the other day when I was interviewing
Yes,
you?
I really
A little
did.
bit, when
I
you're
really
used
did.
to kind of being in control.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
Anyway, what was the question I
What
asked
was the
you?
question you asked?
About being influential. Do you ever think of that when you're out there, the impact that you could have on...
You know, when I used to think about it, except you don't get yourself that carried away. In this times when I would be interviewing Sadat and Begin and Arafat, in the course of maybe 2 days, you would interview the three of them, and I used to think, why couldn't all the three of them get together and talk? Because one would give you a message to give the other one, and you'd think, you know, when all is said and done, you're a reporter. You're really not a statesman. And yet, in that sense, look at the power we have, because I can talk to these people who won't talk to each other.
Right.
When you were talking earlier tonight, when you came out about Arafat and so on, and I remembered the first time that I met him and what he was like, and each time you talk to one of them, you really do feel, you're almost convinced by that argument until you then talk to the next one.
Well, all of
In
those
that
people
sense.
have a great deal of personable, I hate that word charisma, but charm, do they not, in situations like that? They're used to dealing
And
with
they
people.
learned over the years. It was fascinating because they all learned how to deal with television. I mean, they practically would pick up the telephone and call you. I think that almost happens too much now. I mean, there are some whom, no matter what, you can't seem to get.
Have people tried to call you and say they want you?
Yeah, but they're usually the ones who call you are the ones you don't want.
Right.
I mean, I consider myself a great pen pal with Andropov. I write to Andropov every month.
I
We
thought
are
it was
big
just a
pen
little.
pals.
You're kidding.
No, he never writes back, but that, I mean, you want to.
You do write letters?
Yeah. Oh, sure, because you keep hoping that he will do the interview. You write to him and you write to... I shouldn't give it all away, because as I'm doing... Well, what difference does it make?
Why don't you tell him you're 12 years old and you go to school in the
My name is
Midwest?
Samantha, exactly.
You
Samantha's-
might get
yeah.
an answer.
Yeah. Every time there is a crisis in Central America, I try to get through to Fidel Castro.
So you did interview
I have
Castro.
interviewed him. And I get... This is true. I get a Christmas card every year from Fidel Castro. It comes in March. It really does. I don't know whether it means that it has to go by way of, I don't know, what, Grenada or the postage, but I get he's the only head of state outside of the President of the United States who sends, what, 40,000?
I guess
Whom get a
something like
Christmas
that.
card from.
You get a card from the Reagans, eh?
I get a card from the Reagans,
Yeah.
yeah. Don't you get a card from the Reagans?
Yes. Yes.
Do you get a card from you all get a card from the Reagans? Put you on the list?
Yeah. Are you?
And it's nice. It's impressive
Yeah.
when you get it.
Are you a competitive person?
Yes, I think so.
Is it important to you to be, say, #1 in what you do?
Not as much as it used to be. I mean, I would, if somebody gets the interview before me and I didn't try, I'll be mad at myself. I'll think, why didn't I make that one more phone call? But I don't have the same passion or the same ambition that I had. Really, in the earlier days when we were both working in New York, I have said, I don't want to climb any more mountains. It's time now to kind of enjoy it a little bit. Sitting in your house the other day with that water, you just feel that wave is, well, it is right next to the house. You just think...
Last winter it was in the house. Not next to the house. It was a friend last winter, yeah.
But then I thought, how nice. You know, when we were sitting outside afterwards and just being able to sit and talk, how nice to have a little time to do this. I don't have enough of it.
Yeah.
You know, you don't have enough
What
of
would
it.
you do if you didn't do what you do? You ever thought
I
of saying,
can't-
all right, I've had enough of this. I think I'll just be Barbara Walters, citizen of the world, or whatever. Would that make you happy?
To do nothing at all? Well, when I was a little girl, I wanted to be. My father was in show business, and I thought
Yes,
it
I
would be
know.
terrific to be a tap dancer. Excuse me.
That's right. You want to
I'm a
keep
news
the image.
person.
You can't
I'm a
do
news
that if
person.
you write
I'm not
letters to
supposed to
drop
do
off and say, hello, you're a tap dancer. It doesn't work if he knows
Real
you're a tap
knowledge will be
dancer.
on the telephone in about 2 minutes saying, you know.
You were in the press an awful lot when you were undergoing those contract talks and so forth, and there's always that business about women in journalism trying to reach the same status as men, which you have done. But you're one of the few who's done it. Do you think it's getting better
Oh,
for...
more and more. I mean, there are some really wonderful women now on television. There are some wonderful women now doing everything. I wish that there were more. Let me see. Do I see women behind the camera? As I look here, I see no women. My producer, Beth Polson, is terrific, and she's a
She is.
woman. Freddie,
We have...
I see no women in the band.
We have women
no
engineers.
Women. Where?
One we're worried about.
There's one.
Does that count at all? Does that count? If you want him to be, he'll be. But if it's not necessary, no. No, it's getting better. That's for sure. On television. But it's slow. Those things happen slow.
But television is no different. I mean, we all think that television we make it a separate place from the rest of the world. You know, when there was the whole suit by Christina Kraft about women being too old, and she was only 37, I found that very depressing. But, you know, in any industry, and in motion pictures, as a woman gets older, it gets more difficult. And it's also true with men. I mean, there are men as they get older in television who, you know, get
Let's explain that a little bit.
Get shut to the, when they get into their late 50s and early 60s. And
Have you always been a cruel person? When did the streak of cruelty hit upon you?
what did we keep saying to him when we did the interview? We kept saying to Johnny, and then embarrassed him, so I'll only do it once. We kept saying, he's so cute, and he was so adorable. We kept saying, you're so cute, and he got very kind of...
Well, I mean, you know,
Isn't
cute.
he cute? You are cute.
I mean, Gary Coleman's cute, you know.
Not as...
Yeah.
Different way. Different way.
Cutie, it's time for a commercial.
What is it?
You'll be sorry.
You better sit down in the chair. You're actually standing. Us older folk, you know, have to take it easy. We have to take a break already?
Yeah.
The time just flies, doesn't it? Okay, we'll take a break. We'll be back. Of course we will.